Hello, thank you for looking at this beautiful Elgin Canteen diver. First, we're just going to be checking the movement, and then I'll just get on with a little bit of history of this watch and the watch itself as far as its military status. As I said in the listing, I took apart the movement. New DuraPower white alloy mainspring was installed. This was the original movement that came inside the case. Again, I'm not a professional watchmaker, so please don't, I'm not going to guarantee or put a warranty on this because I don't do this professionally. It's more of a hobby. But it has been keeping good time. Once I put the back on it, I'll flip it over, but let's just check it out. I don't want the ring to fall out. I'll check the different positions here. Okay, the watch does hack too, but I have to hold the camera with one hand, so I'm unable to show that at the moment. Okay, so let's put this back on. Hopefully I could do it with one hand. Okay. Just for the sake of flipping it over. Okay. Alright, and as you can see, it is also running in dial-up position. The dial is a new old stock Elgin Blue Chip style. The case also seems to be new old stock as well. I mean, it's in beautiful condition. Everything on it is original. This is not a reproduction case. Now, a little bit of history about the watch. As if anyone has ever seen any of my other listings, you will see that I had been saying I'm going to sell one of these soon. I purchased a large amount of watches and watch parts and tools from a World War II submariner's estate a few years ago. And he wasn't also just a Navyman, but he was also a watchmaker for the Navy. And that was his profession when he left the service. As anyone knows, anyone's watching this who's military, when you leave the military, they give you a lot of the watches and parts and tools. They give you a lot of the stuff. So I'm guessing that's where he got most of his military watch inventory. And this was one of 4 that I purchased from the estate. One of them definitely looked used. Maybe could have been the watch he actually wore. Another one was actually a new old stock Hamilton with the litmus dot, and that is definitely new old stock, and that one I'm actually keeping. I'm not selling that one. And as you can see, this is my Swiss ETA 2824 watch, and as you can see, after about 24 hours, it's maybe a little bit less than a minute slow, like 30 seconds or so. I can probably regulate it a little bit more, just move that regulator arm just a hair forward and should be keeping perfect time. Yeah, so this was one of the collection. Everything on this watch is new old stock. I'm going to assume the case is also new old stock. I mean, there's just no evidence of this ever being worn. Now, a little interesting fact about this particular watch is that the serial number on the back, if anyone Google search Elgin Canteen database, there is an entire database dedicated to the research of these watches. This, as well as the other 2 that I got from this estate, none of the serial numbers on the back are in that database. And I'm guessing, I mean, that tells me it this watch definitely has to be, well, this and the other ones have to be a one-owner watch. This was never bought and sold, so it was never really put into that database, which is pretty cool. So this does have a 539 hacking movement, and a lot of people will say, well, hey, this needs to have the 647E. Well, no, because I also, out of the 3 that I got from this man, there was 2 USN marked cases, and then there was 1 Bureau of Ships marked case. The Bureau of Ships had the 647E, the other 2 had a 539 in it. So, and again, these weren't never bought and sold, because then they would end up in the database, which they're not. And this is my theory on the whole thing. And I've done a lot of research on these watches. And my theory is that in 1944, there was this military specification that the cases needed to be waterproof. Then in 1947, there was a revision to that specification that required the cases to be marked USN Bureau of Ships. Now, you can look it up. It's 18W8 ships. There's 18W8 INT, which was from 1944, and the 18W8 ships is from 1947. Now, obviously, these cases are not marked Bureau of Ships on the case, as required by the 47 specification. So, it is my belief that from 1945 to 1947, the military cased whatever military grade 539s they had left over from the war in these cases to use up whatever inventory they have. And then in 47, when the specification came, it wasn't until 1950 that the Bureau of Ships case came out with the 647E movement, because the 647 was not introduced until 1950. Now, some may argue, well, hey, maybe these were cased after 47. I don't think so, because it wouldn't conform to the 1947 specification. Now, for those who will want to believe that this was a World War II watch, I'm going to put a fork in that one, because, I mean, for as much as I want to say this is a World War II, I don't believe it is, because they did not make stainless steel cases in World War II, obviously due to a shortage of metal, which is why all the cases from World War II, as you would see with any other 539 or Waltham or Hamilton, they're base metal cases. And the Hamilton Canteen watch is a base metal canteen watch. So I believe that the Hamilton met the requirements of the 44 specification. And these also meet the requirement of the 44 specification, other than the fact that they're not marked Bureau of Ships. So obviously, right after the war, you have 2 canteen watches, one marked Bureau of Ships, which is the Hamilton, and this one, which was not marked Bureau of Ships on the back. There had to be a reason for that specification. So I believe this watch was the reason for that specification. So that is my theory on it. You can think what you want to think. I've done tons and tons of research, although there's no documents to prove what I'm saying. That's just what I gather from my research of the way military does things, even dating back to World War I. So I hope you like what I have to say, and I bid you all happy bidding on the watch. Thank you.